From fans are thirsty for some answers in this show, but are you thirsty enough to drink the blood out of a baby's skull? I don't know if it goes that far. What's going on, my familia? This is the Don Tony Teflon. I'm back at you another video, and this one is from Season 3, Episode 3. Let's break this down. A lot happened in this episode, and I'm excited to share it with you. We're going to start with the one and the only Fatima. We see her go into the kitchen where the cow is being butchered, and she's offered some food, but she's just not feeling like, doesn't want no beef this morning. She needs something else that's going to hit the spot a little bit better. And by doing so, we see her go outside and find the rotten crops. While she finds these crops, she starts eating them, and out of nowhere, strangely I might add, Tilly shows up. Fatima runs off just like Maury Povich just said that the guy she brought on the show was not the baby's father. The questions I have about these crops are actually twofold. Number one, we know that the soil went bad, but when did it go bad? Did it go bad immediately after we found out that she was pregnant? If so, that may be that the soil went bad on purpose so that it could provide nutrition for this baby. Let's say the forest or this place that is knew that regular food just would not work for this baby, or this thing is trying to turn Fatima into a monster, and by her eating these things is what's actually gonna make the resurrection happen. It's one or the other, not sure which one yet. But I must note, right above Fatima's bed, you can see it on the right hand side of the screen, there is that creepy picture of Fatima that kind of looks like her as a monster. But let's go on. After Tilly goes to her room and explains to her that she was licking eggshells when she was pregnant, and Fatima confides in her, she says that she has something that she believes is going to help her, and that is a bunch of tarot cards. Fatima wants to know if the baby's going to be okay, but before she could answer that question, we see the crow come through the window and land right by Elgin, who happens to be sleeping there with a crow shirt on. Now, we don't get a chance to see any of these cards, but the one card we do see that's on the bottom of the deck is the High Priestess card. Now, the High Priestess tarot represents the unknown, intuition, spiritual knowledge, and the subconscious mind. Now, the veil on the card symbolizes abundance and fertility, so this is probably why the writers did put this card on the bottom of the deck. So what does this mean? Does this mean we're dealing with magic and witches, and that's why they introduced the tarot cards? I want to know in the comment section what you think. Do you think that's what this means? Does it mean that Tilly is also evil? I know a lot of people want to push the Tilly evil trope. Is Tilly evil? Is she trying to bring forth some type of Rosemary baby situation with Fatima? Let me know. Next up, let's run through the safari to the new little village. They go up there to go find some more food to bring it back to town. They see the 3 statues, which I think are placed in a different spot than they were the last time they arrived, or they're coming through a different area. They have Dale with them this time, they have Christy with them, and a few other people from the town to help gather these crops. Now, while they're there, Jade is trying to figure out what's going on in this place, but he's not actually working, so the people get mad at him, and we see Jade being Jade. After this, he goes off and he takes a piss in the woods, and that's when he stumbles upon the red rocks, and that's when we see another type of vision that he gets of this man with a rod through his eyeball pinned to a tree. Guy grabs, reaches out for Jade, and we can tell at this time, for the first time, that this is all inside of Jade's head, because Dale does not see this person. Kenny finally puts the Blue Ball Queen's Chrissy in her place and tells her to get back to work. You don't need to be hovering over me the whole time, having some mother hen situation. Jay gets mad. He's like he wants to go back to town. And then we see him take off and go back to town. Now, while he's taking off and going the wrong way, this is when we see Christy's foot get stuck in the bear trap. Jade and Dale hurry back to the little village. They go to one of the totems and pull the rod out of the totem. Now, if this totem is used to protect them from the creatures and they spend the night there, they may not have the protection that they had by doing this. But this rod is what allows them to release the bear trap on Christy's foot, and Christy gets out, and this is when they start to carry her home. But before they do, we see Jade have another vision of the same guy, this time without the rod in his eye, but he starts to drink the baby skull, which I believe is a baby skull, full of blood. And why does he do this? Now, if these visions are a message to Jade, trying to warn Jade of something, then you have to look at if this is a baby skull, which it looks like to me, and the man is drinking blood out of the baby skull, the only one we know that is having a baby is Fatima. So it could relate to Fatima in some way, that Fatima's baby is going to be sacrificed for blood. If you want to know why Fatima's baby is so special, I put it in the last video I dropped. I'll put that in the description and in the cards. So it could be something dealing with Fatima since it's a baby skull and blood. Now, before I go on, if you want to help me out like they helped Chrissy, I just released a novel on Amazon. It's my first novel called Darkest Before the Dawn. It's on Amazon. I have the link in the description so you can find it. And if you bought the book, it really would mean the world to me. And thank you beforehand for supporting me and this channel. Let's continue. We catch up with Henry and Tabitha in Henry's house, and Tabitha is in the kitchen and she breaks a glass while Henry wakes up to it. But while she's in the kitchen, she does hear the bottles going off from the outside, and then Henry says that this is something that his wife made, and he brings her outside and she sees the bottle tree. She then explains to him exactly what a bottle tree is, where she's from, and he interestingly says, you mean like a teleportation device. And I think that's exactly what the bottle tree is. I don't believe it's magic. She was trying to say it was, but he put that magic into science. After that, we see him say there are more of these trees that his wife made, and another one inside of a park somewhere. So they decide to go off to this park. While they're in the car and they're talking, she goes inside of the glove box, and there is the same bracelet that she made for Jim inside. This makes her freak out while she's freaking out and believing that she is still in From on a different level of From. This is when they argue and eventually get into a car accident. After this car So I think there's two things going on here. Number one, we hear the music. It's the exact same song that this dude and his wife, that Tabitha and her husband Jim liked. And he also said that it got stuck in there. I think this could have some type of connection with the music box that's inside of the diner. Now, dealing with this bracelet. Again, if you check out my last video, I go into a lot of detail on it, so I won't go into that much of it here. But what I believe most likely is happening is it's some type of transmigration of the soul that's going from each chosen person. And that's why they're able to recreate the same bracelet. And I guarantee you, if there are other chosen people there, they also have made this same bracelet. So that's what I think is going on. Tabitha wakes up in the ambulance, and while she's inside of there, that is when we see them being taken back to From Town. We see the new character, Acosta. Now, I predicted that this would happen here. You can go check out my earlier videos. I said that this is how she's going to get back to From Town, and this is exactly how she does get back there, because we see the tree in the road, and she knows exactly what that means when she hears the ambulance person talk about the tree in the road. I also would like to say that everyone knows that I am the proponent, the one who made up the alien theory, and I'm telling you, when people get abducted by aliens, it's usually when they're in their cars, and I don't think that's a coincidence, people. There wasn't that much going on with Jim and the rest of the Matthews family, really just dealing with the phone call of this person claiming to be Baby Thomas. Now, I don't believe this is Baby Thomas. I do believe it's the same person that contacted him when he put the antenna up, but this time they're trying to come to him in the form of Baby Thomas. Now, remember, when the person that contacted him with the antenna, they told him specifically, your wife shouldn't be digging that hole. So these people may not be bad. It may be good people contacting him. It sounded eerie. It sounded like, hey, you can see everything that's going on. But to think that it's bad, I think we may be jumping to conclusions. Maybe they're trying to help him, and they weren't able to help him in that voice, and they're trying to use Baby Thomas's voice because maybe he'll start to take him seriously. Boyd still has plans to catch a monster while Ellis and Donna tried to talk him out of it, saying that it's not a realistic attempt for him to think, and that maybe he needs to think through the plan a little bit more. You just can't catch him once and let him run around the house and go inside and get him, which is 100%. I agree with Donna on that. Boyd does need to think the plan through a little bit better before he actually goes out there and tries to catch one of these monsters. Also, we see Father Kotri make his return while Boyd is building a memory sign, and Father Kotri is an interesting character. Again, I think that this person, Father Kotri, the person impersonating him, is trying to lead Boyd astray. I think this person doesn't have the best interest for Boyd, unlike the person who was calling on the phone for Jim and communicating with Jim. I still think they're two different entities. So Boyd then goes over to Randall on the bus and invites him to trade places with him for the night because he wants to look at these creatures, he wants to study these creatures, and that's what you have to do. You have to start seeing if they have any type of patterns, if they do anything the same every night, and where they go at night, and how many hours do they actually spend out there. That's what I'd be looking for, and that's what I think Boyd is going out there to do. Victor goes into Sarah's house and he tells her that he needs to go inside the basement because he needs to try to remember. We see in the trailer that he does make some type of tent, so I have to assume that this is where it's going to happen because we see Sarah inside that trailer too, but we don't know exactly what he's trying to remember. Hopefully we figure that out next episode. That's the episode. I thought it was a great one. They have been knocking out of the park recently, but you tell me in the comment section what you think is going on. Again, if you can buy my book, please, it's on Amazon. It really would mean the world to me. Trust me, if you could help me out there, it really would mean the world to me. And if you like the way I do this, please thumbs up this, spread this across the realm, and of course subscribe. And until next time, you know who it is. Peace and stay sexy.